What's going on YouTube? Omar aka Tebow back with you again. In today's video we are going to cover the 10 essential tools that every RC hobbyist should have at their disposal. There's no particular rhyme or order to this, so let's just dive right in. At number 1 is a good quality set of drivers. These are my Sportswork Hex Wrenches that I've had. They have lasted me over 20 years and I haven't had to remove the tips on these. Speaking of tips, here's a tip. If you do get a good set, make sure that they do have removable tips on them. So if they do ever round out, you can replace it without having to buy a whole nother set of them. Additionally, get yourself some nut drivers for all your wheels, props, etc. And if you build Tamiya kits like I do, be sure to pick up a set of Tamiya's JIS drivers. If you're using standard Phillips head drivers, there's a very good chance that you are rounding out or stripping the screw heads. These will prevent it. Number 2 is going to be an electric driver. If you spend enough time wrenching, fatigue on your hands is definitely a thing that happens from screwing and unscrewing all the time. These guys will save you pain and time. Be sure if you do get one that it has an adjustable torque level to it. You don't want to strip out whatever you're screwing in and out of. And you can get the heads for them, such as this nice set that Associated makes, that fit pretty much most of these electric ones. Usually the ones for the hobby are smaller, but this DeWalt one is one that I've had forever and it works just fine. Number 3, an Exacto knife. We all have to cut things. Polycarbonate bodies, stickers, you name it. Get yourself a nice Exacto for all your cutting needs. Be sure to pick up one of these little refill packs too. They come with a whole bunch of new blades, so as they start to get dull, you can get rid of them. They have a handy little slot where you can put the used blades in and not throw them in the garbage where they could potentially cut your garbage bag or yourself. Number 4, nippers. If you build kits, models, whatever, you're going to have to cut parts off the screws. Nippers make life a lot easier. They cut a lot cleaner. You can buy a cheap one like these Xuron ones, but I do prefer these Tamiya ones. They have a much sharper, thinner blades, so it just makes clipping closer to the part without digging into it and leaving less of a nub. Number 5, shock shaft pliers. Have you ever marred a set of your nice titanium nitride shock shafts with your needle nose pliers? These guys will prevent that from happening. Additionally, they are fantastic for building turnbuckles with, and I hate building turnbuckles. To me, it's the worst part of the hobby. These pliers just make life a lot easier. Speaking of shocks, do you want to make perfect shocks every single time? Get yourself a vacuum shock pump. This particular one is made by Tamiya, but there are other manufacturers who make them. Pretty straightforward in terms of how they work. Put your shocks into the holes, different sizes for different bores. Fill it with oil, cap on, put the pump on, about 10 pumps. Creates a vacuum that will suck the air out super quick, allowing you to have perfect shocks every time. Number 7, magnetic tray. How many times have you lost a screw or something when you're working on one of your vehicles? These little guys will keep your screws all in one place. You don't have to worry about losing them. And because it's small, take it with you in the field. So if you're doing field repairs, no looking in the grass or the dirt for that missing screw or nut or whatever it may be. Number 8, a good soldering iron. If you're going to be in this hobby for a while, you're going to need to solder, whether it be motors, battery leads, you name it. Make sure that if you pick up a soldering iron, it has an adjustable temperature on it. So that way, depending on the gauge of wire, or if you're working on a PCB board on a quad or something, you're not too hot, you're not too cold, and you're getting proper solder joints all the time. I also happen to have one of these TS100s. These things are phenomenal to be out in the field or anywhere where you can't plug in a normal soldering iron. This particular guy runs off of a 4S pack, and it will heat up to 400 degrees Celsius. You can get it with the pin or a chisel tip, depending on the size of the wires or whatever it is that you're going to need to solder up. Number 9, body reamer. If you're building kits, you're going to have to cut holes in there for the body posts, and nothing does a better job than a nice body reamer. Guaranteed to give you a nice round hole every time. And a little tip, depending on the size of the hole that I need, I will put a piece of masking tape along the end of it according to how far I need to go to get the proper diameter for the posts that I'm working on. Finally, our 10th tool, set of digital calipers. Allows you to be precise in whatever you're building, whether it be wire lengths that you're running for a quad or turnbuckle lengths, whatever you need to measure out. A nice digital caliper will allow you to get the right measurement every single time. There you go, guys. Top 10 tools that every hobbyist should have available to them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave me a like and subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one.